Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hey everybody!
Hey everyone.
Welcome to what are we doing?
Episode of Hypecast.
Hypecast.
Show where we get hyped about all the entertainment news of the week. Or
Dave's coming in hot. Dave's already
entertainment news of the week. Yeah, Dave's like really burying this one.
Dave's got a headache and it's his third podcast. Dave's just like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is
Let's
this
do
Hypecast?
Yeah.
Dave yelled at me for the first time ever off camera today, or off mic today. It was really good.
When was that?
I'm just making it up for jokes.
Oh,
Dude, yes and,
I was
bro.
genuinely concerned.
No, you wouldn't do that.
No, you would never do
It's
that.
just yes and this, man.
Okay, I know. No.
Dave, you're going to continue to shout and maybe to take your levels down.
Okay, that's fair. Which one?
I think you're 2,
Why am I 2?
because I'm number 1.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway, I'm
Low grade hot takedown right there. Boy, this is great. This is the Hypecast right here. Just like fractions, just dissension and gamefully unemployed. Really good.
Anybody want any energy squirt? You squirt it directly in your mouth?
No, that looks like a fucking pouch of nightmares. What are you doing?
It really does.
Like, it doesn't look like... What you use? Look at you. Look how unhappy you are. What are you doing with your life?
It wakes you up.
It looks like you put a lime in your eye.
Which would also wake you up.
I mean,
Right.
it says on the side, always dilute, but
You're technically supposed to do that with Gatorade, right? Aren't you supposed to mix it with
Really?
water?
That looks like a thing you'd feed a livestock creature to keep it,
Yeah, that's like the
from
bare
dying
minimum
in the
of
sun.
Vitamins and nutrients that you give
Yeah.
like a fucking pack horse.
Like, if you had just opened it and it turned out it was smelling salts, I would not have been surprised by that. I'd be like, sure, that makes sense.
It's my little jar of snuff.
Yeah.
it'd be cool to get
Little
some
snuff
smelling
jar.
salts.
You would put them to good use.
That
No
voice
doubt.
is Adam Ganser.
Yeah,
Right, we
sorry.
should introduce ourselves.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being here. I'm Tom Ryman.
I'm David Bell.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
We
co-host.
came in hot.
Adam guest. We host.
Adam guessed, yes. I guessed good. Thank you for invite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate invite.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying the weird vibe you've created so far, Dave.
I'm.
Is it always weird like this?
No.
I feel like it's entirely my fault, and I apologize.
I don't think you should. I think
No,
you should
I
lean
think-
right
I think
into
we're-
it.
Yeah, I'm happy with the jokes that we've got from this delightful experience with each other.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, so... Holy shit, this is so fucking weird. All right, so I'm looking at this first trailer
Yeah.
for
New
the
trailers this week.
live action Dumbo.
Yeah, man. Tim Burton.
Yeah.
It's a low-key Batman reunion.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Keaton and DeVito and
Yeah,
Danny
DeVito.
Elfman cruising in there.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either.
Like, I understand why Tim Burton is doing it.
Me too.
Because he digs that old-timey circus aesthetic.
Yeah. He'll make the circus part of that narrative cooler
Yeah.
than it would be in some other guy's hands.
Yeah.
Tom knows my feelings of this. I'm very exhausted by the Disney live-action remakes now.
Already?
They all have the same like earth tony colors. They're all
Yeah.
done in this gritty way. They all have a bunch of actors and people behind them that have better things to do. Like, I saw this and I just got tired. I was just like, I don't want to fucking watch a live action Dumbo. I've seen Dumbo. I don't want to have to watch this and have an opinion about it. Like, I don't care.
It seems clear that we're going to get every single
Yeah.
Disney movie that we loved.
Yeah.
probably not Black Cauldron, but like certainly a bunch of the other Disney
A
movies.
lot of guys lining up being like,
Right.
Where's my Black Cauldron remake?
Yeah, that
And
one's not going to get heard, I don't think.
That would be great. Like,
Of course, Dave, of course. Here he comes
'cause
already.
This is just the safest fucking marketing and movie making ever. Like, everybody, I've seen and I think I speak for a lot of people, probably my age, people with kids, it's probably different.
Yeah.
But I see these exactly once, say,
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
And then I never think about it again. Because, of course, it's good. It's the retelling of a movie that was
good, right.
And they don't do anything that much different.
Well,
They're
I
just
would-
like, here it is in live action.
That Beauty and the Beast monstrosity.
I didn't see that because
Yeah,
I
they
because I
took a
wouldn't.
few risks there.
There's no reason. Well, I'm arguing that they've taken a few risks already in this Dumbo movie. Number one, and I really thought about this, Dave. Where's the Brooklyn-inspired mouse? That mouse from the original movie, not in this movie, as far as I can tell.
He's gonna be in it. He might
Here,
be
I'll
Michael
look it
Keaton.
up.
Who the hell is our
Danny DeVito.
Who the hell's our point of view then? If we don't have that Brooklyn-inspired mouse,
Hold on.
Is it Colin Farrell?
I'm gonna go.
no, it's going to be a kid. That's the thing that makes me the most
What's the
frustrated.
mouse's name?
I forget, man.
Some rat.
I mean, it's gonna have a dumb mouse
King
pun, right? Like,
Rat.
yeah, cheesy,
Big top
cheesy
rat.
McWhiskers or something like
It's a-
that. Who knows?
Who cares? It was the
Yeah.
40s.
Right.
There's a flock of racist crows in it.
Right.
That's the
Oh,
part
you
that
think
I'm glad they're
gonna be
doing
in it?
away with. But can we be honest? I'm just gonna be honest real quick. I'm gonna miss the drunk elephant, like
We
the
don't know. He's not gonna get
hallucinogenic.
drunk.
If he doesn't have a crazy ass acid trip, this is not a Dumbo. That was like half that movie.
Yeah.
Right, because the movie is so just devastatingly sad.
It really
that
is. It's a very sad
there's-
movie.
It's hard to watch as a kid.
All right, I
Well,
want
but
you
that's my argument against everything we're doing in kids movies right now. No, it isn't. We all watched it and fucking loved it. Like
and we're
I
totally
love
normal
Dumbo.
people.
I'm you know what, Dave? I'm not willing to concede that point right now. Maybe I don't use the smelling salts.
I want to let you know it's Timothy Q. Mouse.
Of course
they didn't
it was,
even
yeah.
try to have a pun name.
Right,
They're
why
just
not?
like Mouse, and
Why
he's
not?
not appearing, or he's not credited in this new Dumbo.
Yeah, so you know we're not going to get the mouse. The mouse was all the jokes in that movie, you know? So it's just a concern. I have a concern.
Well, that's the thing is they take all of these and they make them like a little bit grounded. Like it's weird that every single one they've kind of been like, oh, let's not go too far. Yes,
Right.
the animals will talk, or yes, there's magic, but let's make it a little more grounded. Like
Why?
It's weird that they've done that.
Yeah, it's weird that in a film that was like loaded with talking animals, it was weird that neither Dumbo nor his mother spoke. Or no, wait, his mom did speak.
I don't know.
She said Jumbo Jr. once when the stork asked it's crazy how much I remember this movie. So, like, when the stork shows up with Dumbo, she asks for a signature and, like, what the name of the child's going to be. And then we hear the mom's voice once say Jumbo Jr. But that's not what they end up calling him. They end up calling him Dumbo because they were real funny around the sewing circle in Elephant Land in the 40s.
Right, the other gossipy elephant.
Yes, correct. We might
Fuck
not get
those
them.
elephants.
They were shitty elephants. One of them had a nanny hat all the time, and I can't figure out what that was about. Also,
Asshole elephant.
just before I get into why I don't like this movie for its own merits, we know we're not going to get the entire stork bombing montage. That's not happening in this live action
Right.
movie, and that's horseshit because that was the best thing in that
That
movie.
was pretty sweet.
Yeah, come on. They're like we're in the middle of World War II and we had storks bombing children on
Yeah.
the circus animals. That's not happening in this movie. Fuck that. That's what I want to see. You know?
I want to see them lob a giraffe
Like I want to
from
see
the
the
upper
giraffe.
atmosphere.
The giraffe
realizing
parents
that
get
I
hit
haven't
with the
seen this
child and
movie.
they're like, "This is good for me."
This is our child.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen this movie in a while. I'm realizing because the things you guys are describing is like that's insane.
It's totally crazy.
Pretty wild.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's a
remember
wild
the
movie.
the saddest fucking
The sad
scene.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, they are relatively traumatizing.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Okay, so here's my problem with this, and I think what I would call all the Disney live action. It's that they replace the talking animals and like the characters you remember with a kid that's exactly the age of the kid who they want to watch this movie and like it,
Right.
because there's something so risk averse about that decision to have children be the point of view in the way that
Yeah.
we enter into Dumbo's story. That's like so obvious and creatively like a bummer that I don't want to watch a movie
Oh, yeah.
for that dumb.
It's-
It's dumb, but I hate that. you
No,
know?
it's
What
the
other-
Star Wars Episode 1 thing where it's
Yeah.
like, I want kids to watch this.
Exactly.
I should put a kid in it. And it's like, kids watch things that don't have kids in it.
and like it.
For
And like
instance, the other Star Wars movies.
Exactly.
What Disney remake has done that?
This one is the only one that comes to mind. Doesn't that Pooh one have a kid at the center of it? I mean, it's
No,
Ewan
the
McGregor
Poopman's
and a
got
kid,
some-
right?
It's Ewan.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's got like a
Oh,
daughter or
right.
something.
He's got like a stupid kid.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
sure, but she's not in the trailer
Yeah.
that much.
Okay.
But
Then
who knows?
maybe I just saw this and hated it and assumed they were going to do it.
It seems like
elsewhere.
because there's no Timothy Q. Mouse.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to let that go. That's
Yeah.
a lifelong resentment for me. That's showing up in therapy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Where's that goddamn mouse?
I'm just trying to. He said pachydoim. That was like one of the phrases you heard many times in
Many
the original.
times?
Yes, he said a pachydoim. He was the best.
He spoke like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Yes.
Like-
he was their answer to Bugs Bunny.
Sounds
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It was
He
excellent,
was a
Dave.
real Brooklyn mouse.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is this like a Bambi sitch where like Bambi's not really the comic relief, so they had a bunch of funny animals around Bambi?
Kinda.
Because Bambi can't really be funny because Bambi's mom is dead.
Right, because Bambi is being crushed by
Right.
the weight of tragedy. every second
Exactly.
of
So
his
they
life.
need like a rabbit next to Bambi to make jokes.
Like, yeah, Dumbo is like the original sort of adorable but not quite funny
right.
character for like it was more like you felt sorry for Dumbo. Plus, like Dumbo's a little bit klutzy.
Put that hat on him, man.
Yeah.
Why would you put that hat on him?
That hat was pretty crazy.
This seems gonna, like that's the other thing. The Dumbo, I'm sure he won't be horrifying. I just don't see how he can't be horrifying.
It's gonna be uncanny,
Yeah.
for sure, because that's a crazy idea.
Kids don't care about
Yeah.
that shit. I'm
No.
learning more and more. Kids don't care about the uncanny valley, and that's great. But like as an adult, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that.
Like you're gonna get scared.
I don't know if there's.
Yes.
I don't know if that's.
I'm gonna
that's-
get scared.
I don't know if that's great or not because that's like a survival evolutionary
Yeah.
strategy. The
Sure.
uncanny valley.
Well,
Right.
I think
Like-
it's more that
I moved the entire table.
I wonder it's more that because the thing I had based off this was the Ninja Turtles, where I was talking to my nephew about Ninja Turtles and realized that he
Right.
didn't care about the live action.
Right.
And maybe it's more that he doesn't see those as real. Like kids maybe are more sophisticated, more able to detect when something's bullshit, like CGI. I don't know. I'm completely guessing here, but like.
Or the
I don't know.
kids,
It's more
kids
just
aren't.
that the things that horrify kids aren't the things you think they're gonna be.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
have children or have friends who have kids that I come into regular contact with, but I just imagine they're not trying to detect bullshit like we are.
Right, like
That's
I don't-
our
yeah,
thing.
Like in my own experience, I didn't start noticing seams and things until I got older.
Yeah.
So they're just not. I don't
So they're
think
just taking
they're
it
not looking. You're
That's
taking
true.
it at face value.
yeah, they're gonna grow up and go back and look at Ninja Turtles and be like,
God damn,
Jesus.
that's
This is
weird.
awful. Right. It's the way I feel about Independence Day. Like that movie was the best movie ever when it came out, and like now I watch it
true.
and it's terrible. You know, like
Remember the hype around that movie?
yeah, dude. I remember the first time I watched a trailer. It
Yeah.
like blew my mind. That's when I love trailers all the time.
Yeah.
Real quick, I will say the original Dumbo, the moment he flies the first time in the original Dumbo, was one of the best emotional moments in any movie for a kid. Like because it's like he's down and out for so long, and then
Yeah,
finally,
he really
like,
gets-
holy shit, does he take off?
He gets shit on.
Yeah.
For a solid chunk of
That's
that
why
film.
it's so good. That's
Yeah.
what makes it so good, and I'm worried we won't get the same feeling.
Well, they spoiled it in the fucking trailer,
Which is real
And he
dumb.
flies.
Yeah.
Well, we know he flies.
Yeah.
We know he flies, but isn't this to enamor children with the legend of
Probably.
Dumbo?
I'm
I
not
guess-
sure how many kids are watching Dumbo right now. That's
That's
old
why you don't give it
movie.
away. That's why
Yeah.
you don't give that away.
I'm also sick of movies where like
80-year-old film.
It's really
where
old,
they
yeah.
can spoil it in the trailer and we're all like, yeah, well, we all know anyway, because that just means that they're just remaking so many films that we don't even bat an eye at that anymore.
It means that they don't even care about the experience of the movie. They just are doing like it's all a
Yeah.
sort of cynical transaction, which I hate.
I don't know. To a degree, I guess. I guess because Dumbo is just. It's not really so firmly in the lexicon, but in my mind, I was like equating it to like showing Superman flying in a trailer. Like, yeah, that's his like defining characteristic.
But like,
Dumbo's defining characteristic is that he can fly with his
It's-
huge ears.
Yeah.
but Dumbo flying is like the beginning of the third act of that movie.
That's true. Yeah.
You know,
I think we also, I always forget, like we're having a debate about the Dumbo live action.
right?
We don't even think about the fact that Disney isn't making like good cartoons anymore.
That's a sad
Like
fact.
that's what's so sad. That's what bugs me about this is that we're now like living in a world where we're just accepting that this is their movies.
I mean, but they've had off and on eras. Like there was an
Yeah.
era where their cartoons were bad for like 20 years.
Yeah, they need.
The 80s, they were struggling.
And in the
Yeah.
70s, what were the good movies in the 70s? Yeah.
Was Fantasia in the 70s?
Nope.
40s.
40s.
That was the 40s?
That's what I mean.
It
It's like
feels like something that they do on acid.
like
but-
all the movies we remember as like these are the Disney classics. It's like
Right.
30s to 50s, and then they kind of made garbage for 30 years.
That's like
they
the
did, and then they
60s
had.
and
That's why they
70s
call it
is
the
where,
Renaissance, the Disney
Like,
Renaissance.
you had, like Robin Hood and
And that's
Pete's
fine.
Dragon
They need
and-
another.
Pete's Dragon is
Renaissance.
totally not memorable. Like the 90s, they had like the late 80s and 90s, they had like 3 or 4 movies that were massive hits,
Yeah.
and otherwise,
like in a row. You
Yes.
like Little Mermaid, Aladdin,
Yes.
Beauty and the Beast,
right. And then they had Pixar,
Lion
which
King.
which is to say that we would be like in an alternate universe, Disney's not even a company anymore if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, the new Disney Renaissance now is them just buying better companies and
Sure.
making them make movies.
right.
And
Well, you've made me sad for after the first trailer, and there's many trailers.
thank you.
Yes.
Give me a squirt of that lime in my eye.
Yeah. Why don't you get some of this lime up in you?
Yeah,
We should talk about the Nun.
yeah.
Who's making the Nun?
I don't know, some asshole.
I didn't hate it.
Have you seen Hereditary?
No, I know everybody's talking about that.
The opening of this trailer is cool and
Well-
it's a neat idea.
Mhm.
I would have had even more respect for it had I not just seen Hereditary.
You haven't
Fair
seen
enough.
Conjuring 2, right?
No.
I haven't seen that either.
The opening shot is from Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
It's a bit they do in Conjuring 2 where they have a painting of the nun.
Yeah.
And it's a neat enough bit, but they telegraph it enough that it didn't really surprise me. And then he like shuts off the lights and like the painting's still kind of glowing and then like the nun like runs out from the painting. And it's like kind of neat. I would say Hereditary did it better.
I thought that
The use of darkness.
as a trailer, this was a fun departure from most trailers because it was just about shots and it was kind of also just about like 1 or 2 scares.
Yeah.
There wasn't really that much content in
There's
this.
not. It's like a minute and a half long. It's a
yeah,
short trailer.
It's the
yeah.
director of The
I like
Hollow.
that.
Which got, I think, mixed reviews.
The Hollow.
Yeah, I never saw it.
I think I've seen it like in the scroll on Amazon, but
It looks very like oh shit. What's that era? Like what's it called? The Hole he just did.
Don't know,
Like
buddy.
Gremlins era, like kids scary.
Like 80s.
oh,
I
like
think
the
that's
Gate.
Like the Gate, yeah.
The
I
Gate.
might be
Thank
misrepresenting
you.
The
The
Hollow.
Gate.
Thank
It's just
you.
what I've seen from it. It looks, I don't know, it looks good. I should see it before judging it.
I don't have any problem with this other than so like if somebody gave me the log line of this movie, I don't know that I would find it
Creepy guy.
interesting as a
Yeah.
log line. That's my problem with
Yeah.
it. Like nothing about it visually or the way it's been executed from the trailer is bad.
Yeah, I was going to say visually it looked better than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
They're not-
complaint was the scare that they show you is very telegraphed. It's like a very
Of course.
Yeah.
horror movie.
But they don't
Sure.
do it as a jump scare at least. They do like they
Well,
swish
then-
back and then she's there, but they don't do a "Durr" sound or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just sort of let you see it. I mean, you're right. It's
It
extremely
ends with a
telegraphed.
jump scare.
Yes,
I mean,
it's
I
hard.
still fundamentally believe that horror is a genre that is only great to experience between the ages of 16 and 25.
You should see Hereditary.
I'm sure. I know there's exceptions, but like in general, by that time you've seen enough horror movies that it doesn't work.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
Yes,
You know?
I haven't been affected by a horror movie since I was a teenager.
Right.
Until Hereditary.
Right. It's like all. Yeah. I mean, that's a cynical and sad
Oh, and some parts
thing.
of Lake Mungo.
Lake Mungo didn't scare me. It chilled me. It was like a chilling
Yeah.
story.
But it still like affected me.
yes,
I think that's one of the reasons why Get Out was so great. It's because Get Out wasn't scary, really. You know, and
No, it
and
was-
it was a new reason for people who were already tired of horror movies to enjoy a horror movie again. You know what I mean? So it's like here's another way to enjoy a horror movie. And I think that was like really exciting.
Yeah, it was
You
like
know?
watching a really good Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, but also the invitation is a little broader. It's for a wider audience in a way
Yeah.
than a regular horror movie is. You know, there's nothing great about this premise from what I can tell.
I think this is going to be It's the James Wan stuff. There's not going to be much to this. I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I love every horror movie. I'll watch every horror movie. I don't give a fuck. And so this is a perfect.
Dave is wearing a Halloween 3 Season of the Witch T-shirt right
true.
now.
He really is.
This is a perfect middle of the road horror movie where it's like something I can just put on during the day when I'm bored, and that's how I think of it. Is like I bet this will have a couple fun moments in it.
Do you understand how heart-wrenching it is to think of a movie that somebody has made as like, I'm going to have it on, I probably won't watch it or understand it or absorb it, but like it will have been on around me.
The labor of hundreds of people.
Right. That's like its destiny and that it fits that specific
that's
utility.
Better than some other movies.
Yeah.
Sure, that don't even deserve to be on while you're in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, man?
We had a good segue point, you realize.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know. I just realized.
Go ahead.
Speaking of Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
The Halloween trailer's out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go first on this one because you guys are going to be.
Yeah.
So I've never seen the original Halloween.
Really?
I understand that I'm in
Watch
risk. Yeah. I thought this looked cool as an idea.
Yeah.
And I
think
don't
so
know
too.
if that's why. But I was like, this is kind of a cool setup for Halloween. I know the story of Halloween.
Right.
Yeah, you should watch Halloween. Just
Sure.
because it is impressive from
Of
like
course.
a filmmaking
Of
It's
course.
not going to scare you, but
I watched the first Friday the 13th on your recommendation and thought it was, and I had a lesser but not entirely different opinion that you had.
There's
of
a
it.
Right.
couple shots
You know.
in Halloween that still freaks me out. Anytime they show, because the way they present Michael Myers, and it's actually a very slow movie at 1st.
It's
There's a
slow
lot
burn.
of
Most horror
build
movies
up.
are, you know.
And there's a lot of moments where like she looks out the window and sees Michael Myers standing there, and they do a really good job at making him, keeping all the shots of him from a long distance. And
Yeah,
you just
right.
Sort of, he's like Waldo.
Yeah. But creepy because he's
Yeah.
a little man against
he's just
this.
like standing there.
Yeah.
They do the curated experience thing where they show you every place he's gonna be during the day, and then night falls and he's back in those places.
Yeah.
But now it's scary.
Yeah, it's like operatic a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's-
pretty cool.
It's really funny. This new Halloween, everybody likes the trailer. I didn't really care about for the trailer that much.
Because of the trailer or because of the story it told?
I guess because there was a lot of at least I have to watch it again, but I recognized like 2 or 3 callbacks to the original Halloween in the trailer.
That bothered you, or you were mad about it? Or?
No, it just made me nervous. This on paper looks great. It's David Gordon Green. Is that his name?
Yeah.
David,
Yeah, I like him.
John Carpenter fucking producing it.
Danny
Nick
McBride
Castle is back. Yeah,
the
Danny
screenplay.
McBride.
Did he really? That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, but that I feel like comedians writing horror scripts is a good marriage.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not just that. I feel like because comedians often study tropes, you know, it's like to make their jokes. Like
Right.
I think that's good for horror scripts. You know. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Castle back as Michael Myers. He was the original Michael Myers, or one of the 5.
One of
people.
several, but he was
Judy
the most
Greer's in
consistent.
this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Judy
I like
Greer's
that.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Judy Greer.
It just
me too.
like I'm not going to judge it based off the trailer. Is what I'm saying. I almost don't want to see anymore.
Yeah, and that
'cause-
seems fair.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom, you have a similar thing. I have a very long relationship with Halloween. It was one of the first horror movies I saw,
Yeah.
and it's like when this came out, I was like texting my sister about it because it's like that's another one me and my sister watched when we were very little, and
Like if you
it's
had
like
to,
a family movie.
if
Like,
you had to describe your relationship to Halloween in terms of a status, what would it be? Like
what
like.
status?
Well, I don't know. Like, are you seeing each other? Like, are you
complicated.
engaged?
It's
It's
complicated.
complicated. Okay.
Complicated.
Fair, wow.
I
Both of
also
you.
Oh no, I really like Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the movies are garbage.
Okay.
I liked some of the sequels. I like H2O a lot. I think H2O was a fine ending to the Halloween.
I knew you
series.
were gonna. It's like here it
You're
comes.
shaking your head over there.
It's I think it. Yeah, it probably should have ended. They definitely shouldn't have done the next one with Busta Rhymes in it.
There's a lot of
That's
great
right.
moments.
I remember that.
I feel like
The opening with fucking, speaking of David Gordon Green, the fucking
Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Justin
gets
Gordon-Levitt
murdered
gets
with an ice
murdered
skate.
with an ice skate. They
cuts
have
his face right in half.
they have a cold open where it's like Michael Myers comes to the Dr. Loomis's nurse's house and kills her and steals all the information, and then there's the cops talking in the next day, and they're like, "You think it was Michael Myers or whatever?" And the other cop's like, "Well, he'd be younger than me. He could be around." And then the cop looks into the off and goes, Michael Myers. Yeah, right. And then the credits
What a
start, and it
great
just starts
line.
panning through the room of all the like exposition on the walls. Like I like the way that movie was presented. It made me excited about the series again.
Okay.
And then I thought it had a great ending of Laurie just chopping off her brother's head. And
Well-
then they went and made the Busta Rhymes sequel.
I
And
know.
I was bummed.
Well, let me. I have two theories on this movie from the trailer. Not being a Halloween expert, that one of them is that all of those crazy people end up being Michael Myers in this movie.
That's interesting.
Like that, there's more than one Michael Myers in this movie. There's like actually a
That would be
fleet
cool.
of
Maybe.
Myers. I feel like that's possible.
right, because
Why have so many of them there?
as Dave pointed out, Nick Castle is playing Michael Myers again, or he's credited as Michael Myers.
There's a couple
Dude's
people
old.
credited.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing. I feel like we might get.
Well,
it might be a release of all
and
these
it's-
maniacs.
There's a couple people credited, I think, because you see in the trailer you see Michael Myers without the mask on. I mean, in the asylum.
Yeah,
I think
but
they
not-
got a different person to
not
play
well.
like maskless
Yeah.
Myers. That's my guess.
You don't see him well.
Yeah.
But like according to the timeline of the film, Michael Myers would be approaching 70.
Yeah.
Right, that's too old to kill people
Maybe
unless you're
not, but-
president.
I mean,
yeah,
unless this movie's going to be like very different than we're assuming it's going to be.
Well, okay, so here's another theory that I don't think is what's going to actually happen, but what I think they should do is that this should be the story of Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yep.
Of her finally becoming a killer. This should be that of her. Not even.
They
It's
did
not.
in the Rob Zombie sequel.
Is that what they did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that sucks.
But, I mean, continue with your thought.
Well, I just feel like we're living in a world where we are starting to understand that trauma is a thing that people who become crazy and murder people and stuff, like they have some measure of
Yeah.
inherited trauma. And like that's a fine breeding ground for interesting movie stuff.
Yeah.
And like, why else go back to Halloween?
They-
You know, why go back? What do we need from that?
This
Yeah.
was, I mean, H2O covered it. That's what it shows. Well, not her being a killer, but a lot of it's about her trauma. Of
Right.
The original Halloweens, which was like a great subject for
That seemed
a
built up
40
in
years
this.
later, and that's what they're doing again. And it like that's why I'm hoping they do something different because H2O already
Sure.
kind of did that.
Okay.
And so this one is Laurie again, like shooting guns and having a panic room house
And
stuff.
wanting to kill her brother.
Yeah, and then it's about her kids again being like, oh, she's all freaked out about this Michael Myers, and that's again the same exact plot of H2O
Yeah.
that they seem to be just doing again. And so I'm hoping that there's something I'm not seeing.
When was H2O? When did that come out?
97?
Yeah,
Oh
Or
my
99?
god.
it's Josh Hartnett's first.
That's
movie.
right. I was in a Blockbuster for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
97.
It's not a
99,
it's not a
it's
perfect
late
movie.
90s.
It's very much 90s. It's a very 90s film, and so it's kind of silly.
It's a very
and
90s
and it
horror-
has
horror
yeah.
film. It was like after Scream blew up, they were like, let's get fucking
Yeah.
Michael Myers
But
back out here.
the general story and like a lot of the story beats I really liked, and I hope they don't just try to do something similar. I know this isn't even counting Halloween 2. I know that like Laurie's not his brother in this or his sister in this, right?
Right, correct.
And like she's still freaked out, which I guess still makes sense even though she's not related because it's like she's the one who got away.
I feel like we've really allowed this movie to take one of the great holidays and be the seminal statement on what that holiday is, and that's some fucking bullshit.
That's some balls.
Yeah, they took the name.
Well, yeah, they took the
Well,
name, Dave.
It was supposed to be an anthology.
Yeah.
And the shirt I'm wearing is
In the
is a
spirit of
testament to
Myers.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's-
like,
yeah.
there's so many other ways that Halloween could be defined by other movie series that could have been named Halloween that we would also enjoy. I don't think this Halloween, or any of them except for the one that you said, is like interesting. Like, right? They're boring, right? Am I wrong? Is Halloween the best and I'm just missing out? I don't think
I
so.
like Halloween, all right.
The first Halloween movie is a really good film,
Yeah.
Okay.
but
It's a John Carpenter film.
Yeah.
It's great.
it'll seem weird for like especially like young people to go back and watch it. They'll
Certainly.
almost certainly be like, I don't get what the deal is. But you got to
Yeah.
understand that it invented all of the slasher movie tropes.
Yeah, it's Casablanca for
Yeah.
slasher movies. I get it. You know, like I don't mean to dismiss the whole thing. I just feel like, boy, this is the most tired well to me of any of the movies we're going to talk about today.
I will say this
including
about,
Dumbo live action. That is a less tired well than this is.
They've only
I
dipped
will-
into it one time, old Dumbo.
I will say this about the trailer. the closet shot gave me some encouragement when the girl or whoever
trying to
like,
shut
there's
the
someone in the
closet,
closet,
yeah.
and then I expected it to be a fake out, and he's like behind her or something, and then she opens it more, and there he is, like,
just
yeah, I'm in the
standing there.
closet. And if they manage to make Michael Myers scary again, that would be very impressive to me.
I think the mask is
Because I
starting
think you're right.
to look good again
Yeah.
as like a cool way to be a
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
You know?
They definitely
Yeah.
have retooled it because it was in the original just a Shatner mask that
Yeah.
they painted.
Right.
They, yeah.
But they've added like weird like plague texture to
Mhm.
it.
Almost
It
looks like he's
It's
aged.
grimed up.
Yeah, it looks
It's
like
grimed up.
It looks pretty gnarly. I also like him dropping the teeth in the bathroom stall.
Oh yeah,
That was
cool.
all right.
That
Yeah.
was
Oh,
pretty
but
chill.
that bathroom stall is from Halloween H2O. That's a scene in Halloween H2O where there's a lady in a stall, and is it the same like roadside bathroom?
Probably.
Yeah, and I guess this is what I mean is the trailer. There was a lot of things like that where I'm like, they did that. They did that.
Well,
they did that.
that's why we don't need this anymore.
Yeah, but that's yeah. I still trust the people involved in it.
But I trust those people to execute an idea perfectly.
Right.
Like I have no doubt this is going to be a really well made version of it. I don't trust anybody at all to like inherently come in and revitalize a franchise that we've had. How many installments? 10? How many?
Yeah,
Yeah.
A lot.
and that is yeah. My big problem with Halloween.
This isn't
is that
comic
I'm
books.
not sure why
Yeah, it's weird.
we're making it.
Yeah, it's not like Swamp Thing or something where like let's just let some crazy person not do Swamp Thing with Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like the Terminator franchise where it sort of feels like they keep saying like, "Oh, let's try this," and it's like you did that. Like with Halloween, it was like let's bring back Jamie Lee Curtis and do this 20 years later, which I liked, but they did it, and then they did Rob Zombie was like, "Well, I'm gonna make a gritty reboot thing," and then that happened, and then now they're like, "Let's do like a gritty reboot and bring back Jamie Lee Curtis." And it's like you've done those two things,
Right.
and like it definitely feels like there's nowhere else for this to go.
Not
but again,
when-
I'm willing to be pleasantly surprised.
Not when they're beholden to a timeline or the characters or the tropes. Like all three of those things got to go. And like a whole other thing, like you got to, it's like go down into like real depth of the soul of this and like
And
find
maybe-
some other
and maybe they
manifestation of it.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
they will. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they will. This next movie, I say movie, I'm going to put that in quotes, and you'll see why in a minute. It's called Bad Times at the El Royale. Tell me it doesn't look like BioShock to you.
No, it doesn't look like BioShock.
Oh, I think it looks a lot like it looks like a lot of video games in the last like 10 years. Like just like that sort of neon, strange premise, this
Oh.
weird collection of people,
Yeah, maybe.
and like it's contained in a strange way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like it didn't feel like a movie because there wasn't about anything. It was about an aesthetic.
Right. It does.
You know?
It just introduces a lot of things.
Right.
It's got a shirtless dancing Hemsworth in it.
It does have.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
But tell me he didn't look like something out of Far Cry 5.
This could easily be an all style, no substance film.
I hope
Right.
not.
That I'm scared about The Terminal. I haven't watched that yet. That's out, and that feels the same way. Where it's like a director is like, "Look how cool this all
Fucking
looks."
cool.
Yeah,
dude.
everything
That
looks
said,
key.
it's the director of Cabin in the Woods. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, he hasn't he's done nothing but good things so far. So I'm
Cabin in the
willing
Woods
to,
was a really good genre film.
yeah.
Wait, it was the director of Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Joss Whedon wrote Cabin.
Right, but he didn't direct
He didn't
that.
direct
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, it's still
So, yeah.
it's not yeah.
Like,
Well,
no,
that-
sorry. I think they like co-wrote it together. They
Okay.
like worked heavily together. And
That's why, like, when I saw these credits, I was like, so it's like the person involved with this movie, like each position it's the person involved with that movie that wasn't why I loved the movie.
right. It's the monkey bone situation.
Right,
Like,
it's not
from the
bad.
director of
from
Nightmare
one
Before
of the
Christmas.
screenwriters
Right.
of The Martian. I'm
Yeah.
Like, well,
Well, like, okay, but like, it's an actor and the director that made that movie great.
yeah.
But there's nothing about this that's off-putting to me other than I really thought it was video gamey in a way that was made me like, huh. You know?
I'm optimistic about it. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not willing to. I know what you
I love
mean.
John
with
Hamm
the,
in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we need more John
John
Hamm.
Hamm.
okay. How have we fucked up John Hamm's career so much? How has that
He
happened?
did comedy a little bit, and then he just sort of vanished.
He was the best looking, most interesting man in the world for 6 years when he was on Mad Men, and he hasn't become like Robert De Niro in movies. Like,
Well,
how has this happened?
I mean, have you seen the stuff he did before Mad Men? Like, he seems to
Sure.
be doing the same movie career that he did before Mad Men. Like, he doesn't know that Mad Men means like he can do more because he was in like Space Cowboys and stuff.
But like
And
people
now
do
he's
people do stupid things until they get a defining
Right.
role. I
no,
get
no,
that.
it's like he doesn't realize that. But again, Bryan Cranston, same thing. Why hasn't Bryan Cranston shown up in movies?
Bryan Cranston is picking roles that are interesting for an actor to do. That's what he's doing.
You're right. He has done
He's
some
in
shit.
Trumbo. He's been up
Yeah.
for Academy Awards. Like, he's picking projects that are clearly like, for an older actor, like cool. Like John Hamm, to me, it's like he's in this movie because he was in Mad Men because it was in the 60s.
Right.
Not because this is the character from Mad Men. Like, it's just so unimaginative. It's like, John Hamm is fucking awesome. Can we get the older James Bond movie with John Hamm,
yeah.
please?
I would
Can
also
we
argue
get
that
anything with
a
this
lot
guy?
of the
Pretty
Mad Men cast is not really doing anything.
John Hamm first. I don't give a
John
shit
Hamm
about the
first,
rest of them.
yes.
John Hamm
But
first.
motherfucking like Pete Campbell, he was an in time playing Pete Campbell.
Fair
again.
enough.
Like even if he can just be Pete Campbell, just have him be Pete Campbell in other movies, right?
Right.
Like
Time-traveling Pete Campbell.
yeah, you just need movies need Pete Campbell.
Last Jedi plus Pete Campbell
Yeah.
equals.
No, if he was one of the generals, like the evil Sith generals as Pete Campbell, I'd be like, yeah, this is fucking great.
He's just resentful of the Jedi for getting ahead of him. Like, he's just one of those sons of bitches. I'm really actually mad about this John Hamm thing. It really makes me upset. Yes, because I just feel like we get like, it's so rare that we get a really interesting actor who's like also like handsome and also like seminal performance and like has the potential to be a bona fide star. That almost never happens, and like somehow he hasn't gotten into movies as a leading man, and I don't understand why.
Maybe he's like really racist, like doesn't hide it. Like just every set.
Maybe he showed up. He showed up on Mad Men as himself, and they never sent him a script. He just
Yeah,
was
it's
always
just
in. He was always synced up to what they were doing.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
He's like, oh, this is my language. Really speaking my language.
that's what the money's for. Yeah, I just don't understand. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it happens.
I know.
Like David Duchovny never blew up.
Well,
Yeah,
David Covey's no John Hamm.
I know, but like,
Get serious.
I love the
After
X-Files, but I'm not
after
even-
Californication, we all know why.
Yeah.
Have you watched that show?
no.
Oh, it's a
Why the
horror
hell
show.
Would I watch that?
That's my Halloween, bro. I watched that whole fucking thing, and it was a real sack of
A real
nightmares.
nightmare.
Yeah, it
He's
really
got
was.
a very promising musical career, David Duchovny.
David Duchovny, yeah, sure.
Does he?
He sings. I think he had potential to be new Jeff Goldblum.
You were
That's
really
what David
fucking
Duchovny-
giddy about his singing right now.
Well, he does like folk rock, and it's just like, of course you do, David
That's what
Duchovny.
everybody who's an actor that
Yeah.
decides to do a music career does.
Yeah.
They don't start like a fucking they don't start a synth band. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, they're not in new order. They're just like, what if I get a folk career?
Actors
You know, like-
who decide to sing are one of my favorite things.
well, we're about to talk about that. Isn't that the next movie we're going to talk about?
Yeah. I'm just
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
of a more like nobody from Lost blew up.
But Lost sucks. Mad
It
Men was
a
amazing.
Huge show though. I'm just saying, like sometimes, like if you're the lead on a huge show, it doesn't always. Pan
But
out.
see,
that
but Lost
Hobbit-
is
the Hobbit
but
was
Lost
Lost.
lives up to that Dark Knight thing where it's like, you know, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain.
Yeah.
That's what happened to everybody in Lost.
yeah,
Like by
I
year
tweeted
6 of that
it.
show, I was like,
tweeted
fuck
it.
that.
You either die. What is it? You either die Lost. No, you either die Twin Peaks or live long enough to see yourself become Lost. That's what that is. Because Twin Peaks been
Right.
like approved for 6 seasons, we would have been like, oh fuck Twin Peaks, because you just can't sustain that
Right.
level of weird abstractness.
Yeah, fuck
for
that log
fucking
lady.
6.
Like, you just
Yeah.
turn on her.
Damn Lost
If
lady.
Lost lasted 2
Turn on her.
seasons,
Yeah.
we would have thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, that log lady, that baby log that she's
Yeah.
had. It's because it's not a real log.
No.
She's not carrying around a log like
No.
a serious
Yeah.
expenditure of energy.
Yeah.
Like those fucking trolls in God of War with
Yeah.
those giant goddamn pillars.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's just a baby log that she can cradle. What's up with that?
Yeah.
that tells her the future.
Yeah, I love Twin Peaks, but Twin Peaks, if it was a person, I'd be telling it it's exhausting all the time. I'd be like, Twin Peaks, cut the shit. You are
And it would-
exhausted.
It would
down.
respond.
Sit down, Twin
It would respond backwards. Why don't you love me anymore,
Yeah.
Dave? You know,
aren't-
you
you
ain't
aren't-
no
you
you love
aren't
me
in-
anymore. We both did it. We both did the joke. There was.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
what's
So
the
should
next?
we
Star
talk
is
about
Born.
A Star Is Born?
We don't have to.
I mean, it's there.
Oh no! This movie's gonna get. Oh, this is Sonic the Hedgehog of this collection. That's what this one is. This one's the fuck this movie one to me. Yeah, here we go. I'm ready. Number 1, do not cast Lady Gaga in this part. Here's why. I think she's a fine actress. I think she's a very talented musician. I think she's many wonderful things. It ruins the drama of this movie.
What's the drama of
the drama of this movie, in theory, is that this like rock star folk figure played by and directed by Bradley Cooper discovers a woman who does not believe in herself and gives her the opportunity then to become a star. That's how the trailer pitches it, right? Do not make that person Lady Gaga. Of course she's going to be a star. She's already a star.
Right.
We were talking about this before
you can't do that shit. Even though I know how movies work, it's like, no, man, do a service to the emotion of the movie by casting a person who I don't know if they can sing.
Well,
right.
We were talking about this before we got here, where there's a part in the trailer where she's like, oh, people don't like how I look. And it's like, you're a beautiful woman.
Right. And an interesting looking woman, too.
Like why? It's like the movie
you're
Funny
Lady
Face.
Gaga.
It's
you're not Phantom of the Opera. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Okay, well, Phantom of the Opera, like in the movie takes off, he's got like one fucking. It's like, all right, you're still Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Exactly.
Calm down.
Exactly. I just think like I think movies also have a responsibility now, and this is like maybe a controversial point, to the meta narrative. Like the way they're constructed, they also have to have like a sense of like awareness of what it looks like as a package to people, and to cast and put it together in that way. And this fucks that up.
I say yes and no, because sometimes there's movies that I really like now from like the 70s where like the meta narrative isn't there anymore. Like
not now, sure.
Yeah, and like you can step back and appreciate a movie for what it is.
Like what?
Or
Give me an
it
example.
goes. I would say it goes worse the other way, where you watch a movie like Airplane and you're like, what the fuck is this reference to? Like all their references are like that. I guess that's what I mean with this is you're talking about the idea that we know who Lady Gaga is right now watching the movie.
We have a given value to Lady Gaga.
Maybe in 20 years this will feel different, and I know they can't really plan for
Nobody makes a movie for 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Like
Except
you
for
can't
that John
do that.
Malkovich thing.
Which
Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah,
They made a movie that will be in a
capsule.
vault opened 100 years from now.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
John Malkovich was the
it's
first
terrible.
meme ever.
Yeah.
He was the fucking memeovich. Like that guy has been.
But yeah, no, I agree with you on Lady Gaga.
No, it really fucks this movie up.
The only thing that intrigues me about this movie is when they cut to Dave Chappelle playing like
I like that.
the fun friend, and it was like Dave Chappelle and You Got Mail all over again. It was like, Dave Chappelle, what are you doing? Like
Right.
you don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, this is the first time he was worried about Bradley Cooper. He says in this trailer, I was like, not the first time I've been worried about this movie. I'll tell you that.
Directed
Bradley
by
Cooper's hat
Cooper.
is a crime against humanity. It's like, nope. I'm sorry.
His hair is out of control.
You are not Rockstar Van Helsing. I can't have this shit. I can't have it.
He could be. If they made Rockstar Van Helsing starring
It's just-
Bradley Cooper.
I mean
love the film.
that sells itself.
I wonder, like, okay, so here's the generous interpretation for Bradley Cooper's in this movie, like Bradley Cooper's deal in this movie. Perhaps he wanted to direct a movie, and they gave him this movie, and they said the only way we'll let you direct it is if you're in it.
That's probably
That's
what happened.
probably
Okay,
what happened.
okay, and that makes this thing a little more forgivable. If, as a director, he cast himself in this insane part, and also cast Lady Gaga to direct a reboot of like what is one of the classic movies, like it's a classic movie.
Yeah.
Then like I'm already insanely angry at it. Like I'm just like, what in the fuck is this?
Maybe
I can't.
this Bradley Cooper was sitting there in pre-production meetings and casting meetings, just like, I've always wanted to meet Lady Gaga, so let's just
Right.
and like Dave Chappelle
And like I'm a rock star already, really. If you think about it.
Think about it.
Yeah, I don't play songs. I like play like images, but like I'm good at it. It's just like
Play those images like a guitar. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I know. It's like
It's a
you're just
tough-
so
it's a-
fatigued and sad
Right,
by
It's
this.
a hard movie to care about.
Yes, it's extremely hard to care about.
Andrew
I put it
Dice
on
Clay
this
is apparently
doc.
on it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
put
it
it on
is.
the stock only because the moment I saw Dave Chappelle, I was like, huh, like, okay. And then the fact that it's directed by Bradley Cooper, it's like, okay, there's something here to talk about, but I don't think I'm ever going to see this movie.
I'm gonna see it. I always say this as a way to like soften the fact that I'm just a jealous human being.
Sure.
I want people to have a chance to direct. I want new directors to get a chance to direct, including actors who have been in movies forever. Fine. This looks already like an ego pageant
Yeah.
in a way that like really concerns me.
I like the DP.
Who gives? I mean,
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
DPs
it's not going
are
to matter that much, but
How could it?
he stands out. He did Aronofsky. He did Inside Man, Straight Outta Compton.
But you're naming movies with people who have a really strong sensibility at director. Also,
Yeah. This is
like
true.
I don't know that this
He did the
guy
Iron Man
is.
films. He's a good cinematographer. His
Sure.
movies look good.
Sure.
That's not enough for me to see this, but yeah.
Right.
But I would say he's definitely a strong cinematographer. Like watching Inside Man is one that because I guess this is also that Spike Lee tends to like change his movie styles. Like he changes
Right.
movie to movie.
He's an experimenter.
But Inside Man, the cinematography definitely felt like more like Aronofsky style. Like it felt like the cinematographer was standing out in that.
There's like 4 or 5 cinematographers who make me want to go see a movie.
Yeah.
This is not one of them, but like Deakins obviously
Yeah,
and you know, just the guy, what's the name of the guy who's in Uratu's DP?
I don't know.
He also did Gravity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a
His shit is
badass.
good.
Yeah, he's a really like, and there's others, you know.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, it was Conrad Hall before he died.
Right.
You know, just people like that. Anyway, we can move on from the cinematographer talk.
Okay, we talk about the Shining sequel. I assume this is Doctor Sleep or whatever it's called.
Yes, it's Dr. Sleep.
I haven't read it yet. I need to.
The movie or the
I
book?
haven't heard bad things about it.
It's fine.
Oh,
I
there
haven't
is a
heard
book
much
that
about
this
it.
is based on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ewan McGregor, I assume, is Danny.
Yeah.
Grown-up Danny.
Adult Danny becomes an alcoholic as well.
Sure. I kind of like that as a
Oh,
premise.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I kind of like that.
Ewan McGregor. This. Do we know who's making it? Who's directing it? Or
I don't think they're as far along as you'd think into this.
Yeah.
Here are lines that made me laugh from this article that we're actually referencing. One of them is, after the It reboot sequel, all the studios decided to put all the Stephen King properties into pre-production. I read that and I was like, I'm sorry, did we need proof that Stephen King is interesting in movies? How in the holy shit are we doing this now?
I don't know.
He's been in movies for 40 years.
I
What in
know,
the
yeah,
fuck
that's
are we talking about?
That's
I think
Weird.
we need him to direct it again.
No,
yeah. We need a
Dave.
Maximum Overdrive
Let's
reboot.
get,
We
let's
need
get
to
some
revisit
cocaine
this.
in him. Let's.
Mike Flanagan. is
Okay,
directing.
I am on.
I'm
board.
on board.
Yeah, I like the look of it a lot.
Mike Flanagan's the shit.
Now I'm excited.
Does it bother you at all the idea that they get more shining power from the corpses of other shiners when they die? That's like
What?
That's in this article.
Yeah, it's psychic. They're vampires.
Basically.
Oh.
So you have, if you have the shining, let's say. Well, okay, so in this
If
movie,
we have the shining,
if we
I
shine
die,
together.
You shine more.
And as long as I take your shine, I'm going to take it.
Sure.
It's like an aura that I'm going to suck up.
You're like in Mortal Kombat where you suck.
Yeah.
But
That's
they're like vampires.
right, and that's a really different zone than the original Shining was in.
I'm
It is.
okay with artists expanding.
100%.
For the record, the director, just so people don't know, Mike Flanagan did Oculus and Hush, and what else? He did Ouija,
He
the
did-
sequel, which was surprisingly good.
The surprisingly good Ouija
He
sequel.
did Gerald's
And he
Game.
did Gerald's Game on Netflix, which is excellent.
Yeah, he's a good director. He's no Kubrick. We're not going to get Kubrick.
Well, come on.
Yeah, we're not
what
going to get
are-
anything remotely. He's just a really solid and good horror.
You just
director.
can't, you know why you can't get a Kubrick anymore? It's not that there isn't that talent out in the world. I'm sure there is. It's that there's no movie studio in the world that's going to let somebody do what that man was allowed to do.
Yeah.
No.
Like just that
It
if you
reminds
go
me
back
of,
and watch that documentary that his daughter made about him behind the scenes of The Shining, like he's
Oh, yeah,
rewriting the
that's a great
script
doc.
on the day. He's rewriting it.
Yeah.
He's like he's sitting there fucking around with his parents who are on set for some reason, and then he's like rewriting the document, and then you watch him block through the scene, and he's just like holding a viewfinder, and he's like, "That's an interesting angle.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see this one," and he just keeps looking at it for hours while the whole crew is there, and you're like, dude. You don't shot list? You don't like plan what you're gonna do? Nah, just show up and think about it.
It reminds
That's fucking
me,
crazy.
It reminds me of a scene in Almost
What an
Famous
asshole.
where like the little boy who Rolling Stone thinks is a grown man,
yes.
like is involved in like drugs and hookers or
Right.
something, and then they say like, "Look, we already have a Hunter S. Thompson," like, and it's that where it's like we don't need another one of these things. Like we have it once, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's it's hard
Right.
to have.
We all in theory love the concept of an auteur, like a fucking like run wild maniac that produces these interesting things. Yeah, but we're just not really gonna do it anymore
Yeah.
because like the human cost is too high.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
That's fair.
Real son of a bitch.
Also, it doesn't even matter how good. Like any of these directors could be that as good as him. He's never going to have that kind of time. Nobody's ever going to have that kind of time again.
No,
That's
not
that
the way
that era is gone.
movies and money is right
Right.
now.
That's not happening.
So this subject of Stephen King going into the weird rules of Shining.
yeah.
Did you guys read about George Lucas sharing, or they figure out
The
what
midichlorians
his
thing?
sequels would have been?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Go ahead and say it for the Bennett, so the listeners know what we're talking about.
apparently we found out what George Lucas had planned
For
the Star Wars
said
sequels.
in like an interview.
Yeah, and it was going to be about the microbiotic world where we get to follow the midichlorians of the Force. Like it was going to be about it was his midichlorians trilogy.
Yeah, it's gonna be Osmosis Jones.
Where like you could see him pitching that to Disney and then being like, "You're fired." Like you could I can imagine that moment.
I came in and I told them.
Sometimes you wonder if he just wanted to see how far he could take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not even like how far can Star Wars go, but like how bad am I allowed to go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Well,
he's really bottoming out for us.
Maybe, and then there's another part. I mean, it's very clear that he just had the one idea, just judging
Right.
by his entire
Sure.
career from Star Wars on. But I can the thing that I can say for him with
Right.
the prequels and with this fucking ridiculous banana sandwich idea is that he is really thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, yeah,
he
and
is
at least
trying
sure.
something different.
He also trusts all of his instincts and not some of them.
Here's
Right.
Right.
Here's a
All of
quote-
everyone's good.
Here's a
Everything I say
quote
is a good
from
idea.
George about it. If I'd held on to the company, I could have done it, and then it would have been done. Of course, a lot of the fans would have hated it, just like they did Phantom Menace and everything. But at least the whole story from beginning to end would be told. It's basically him saying, "Yeah, I would have done it. They would have hated it. I don't give a fuck." Like
How in the
that's story.
undead fuck could that be the end that was intended from A
Right.
New
so
Hope?
good.
Right.
He's like, listen, we're gonna go through these other 3 movies, and then we're gonna hop right into their bodies and tell.
had planned.
Like that's such horseshit.
I think it's Lucas is like
He might even just
He
be
does-
fucking
he-
with people. now.
yes,
Yeah.
that's a troll move.
Yeah, he's
That's
trolling.
Dave level trolling.
Yeah.
I think I don't think he cares. I think he's
No,
just
why
old.
would he?
He's had to deal with Star Wars his whole life, and he's just
Right.
like, I'm just gonna fuck around with it.
No, it's just chilling on $1 billion.
Oh, more than that. He
they sold it for how much?
$4 billion
$4 billion.
that he mostly gave it away to charity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he already has more money. Than God.
When I went to film school, he had donated $400 million to that film school, and that was nothing to him.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
He has all the money forever.
He would show up occasionally at USC. Have I ever told you this?
I think either you or Abe told me a really embarrassing story of him being on campus and somebody running up to him.
Oh,
trying
here
to
it
get him
comes.
script.
I'm going to give it to you right now. Here it
Oh,
comes for
no.
this. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. I'm giving it to you right now. Now, I was known at film school for being out front and having cigarettes. That was not a thing that our faculty liked because the building was new, so I would get some shit from him from time to time. So, like, George Lucas comes walking up, and, like, with him is the dean, whose name I will not say.
Of course.
The dean was very professional, and, like, she guarded celebrities like the greatest all-pro lineman you can imagine. Like, you cannot get fucking close to these people. One student believed they were the one that could do it. And they were on roller skates. That's the other fact.
Oh my
it's
God.
really good. They see George Lucas.
Roller skates
They
or
start
roller blades?
blading toward him with
blades?
I don't remember if it was blades or I don't remember. They start blading toward him. Right? They have the script in hand. They're like, "Here it comes. I'm gonna get
my
through
moment."
I'm gonna get through the force field. He will love it." And here it and George Lucas may never have seen them. I'm not sure if he can see regular people anymore. He may never have seen them. The dean saw this person, shoved them out of the way. They fell over. They fell over on the ground with their script rollerblades in the air like assholes. And I saw the whole thing. Nobody else saw it. It was like me and like
so
one other
good.
person. And like then it just went on. Like they just walked on. Like Lucas never knew this person was gonna like their life was gonna be
I hope
different.
it wasn't bound, so all the pages. Just
It wasn't as good as that. I wish it was, but it was like clearly one of those like the dean was also like a very short woman, so like it was impressive that she was able to take this person down at all. But I'm talking about
It was
clean block,
pure
just
rage,
like
I'm sure.
just clean block with the forearm, boom.
Boom.
Oh boy, It was perfect, and nobody.
Hard pass. On that script.
We're not greenlighting anything at the moment. Sorry, yeah, we're going in a different direction. And I don't blame the dean one bit. It was like everybody knows. Don't talk to the celebrity, you jackass.
Well, don't go rollerblading up to George Lucas
Right.
and thrust a script. He's not going to read that.
Just because there's wheels under your feet doesn't mean the rules don't apply to you. You don't get to
Right.
like fly in with a
It's
script.
it's a legal nightmare, I think, which a lot of people don't consider. Because if they read anything that's not solicited, it opens you up to lawsuits.
Dude. There's so many reasons.
There's a lot of reasons.
It's
I
like,
got-
what are you doing, you clown person?
Right.
You know, like, why would this work for you? How would it work?
Yeah.
Like, what's the scenario that comes next? He like immediately stops, reads it, and is like, you know what, roller person, I'm gonna make you a star.
Yeah.
I saw NoFX one time. And
Sure.
Somebody threw, and as they were like in between songs, somebody threw their demo CD on stage and it hit Fat Mike in the shin. And he stops and he just bends down and picks it up. And he looks at it, and he reads out the name of the band. I can't remember what it was. It was really dumb.
Yeah.
And he like looks and is like, "Is this your band? What do you think? I got a stack of record contracts in my bus, man?
So good.
What do you think's gonna happen here?"
So good.
That's like the evening with Kevin Smith. People will inevitably stand up and
course.
ask if he'll read their screenplay.
There's always a
and they just
person.
get booed. Or there's the people who go to Kevin Smith and be like, "You want to hang out sometime?" And he's like, "No. Why would I want to hang out?"
Right.
I get it because he seems very accessible, but he's still.
I
not.
mean,
Like,
I didn't personally shove a script on Jeff Goldblum,
Oh,
which
boy.
I still have. It was we saw him
saw
live,
his show
and we
left
knew
the
not
script
to
there.
do it, and someone else was like, "I'll do it, fuck it," and it was like, "Sure."
Fucking here it comes.
And I still have the script with Jeff Goldblum's writing on it of his agent's information. He was just
That
like,
was
"No,
nice.
I can't legally take this. Here's my agent."
Yeah, he was really gracious about
Yeah.
it. He's like, "Oh, I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I can't take that. But here's."
But,
where you
like,
can
yeah.
send
Right.
it."
Here's where my
I
agent
didn't-
earns
I
their
didn't
10%.
do it because I knew what you're saying, which
Yeah.
is like you never
You don't
do
do
that.
that. It's I get it though, because I've given my demo to bands before. Like, you're just
Sure.
like, it's
Sure.
a band I like. I just want to, maybe, because one in a
It's-
million times. It
because
happens.
because everybody's trying to find the way,
Right,
and there
right.
is no
There
the
is
way.
no way.
Yeah, there is no the way. So like, some people are pretty ballsy and they'll try stuff.
Pretty
They'll
bad at
put
it.
on their rollerblades.
Yeah, and they'll try to skate past the rest of us.
And
You know,
blade
like
up to the bearded one,
Yeah.
who doesn't even see the spectrum of light that normal humans exist in.
Lucas,
never
that's
never
so
saw that
insane.
human being.
No.
Never saw him. No chance.
I want to move on.
Why? You don't want to talk about
you wanna talk
rollerbladers
about
anymore?
rollerbladers? George
I want to
Lucas
talk
forevermore.
about the live action Aeon Flux series coming.
I think this is really more of a Dave centric topic.
It
I'm
is.
very excited.
Let's hear
But-
your thoughts, Dave.
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic, maybe not even, because there's no way to make a live action Aeon Flux. We've learned this. They made a movie of it and it was garbage.
Well, certainly that's not the way to make
Mm-hmm.
one.
It was with Charlize Theron, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one? Yeah.
They surprisingly
And if you-
they did a few things that were in the show, but I think the show is underrated. I think if you sit and watch the only one season of Aeon Flux, it's like very sci-fi and it's like got a really unique look. It's got that brutalist art architecture. It's the guy who did Rugrats.
That is
a classic
really not a sales pitch for this old
No,
bear.
but Rugrats has a unique animation style. as
Definitely.
well. And it's a forgotten show, but it has a lot of really cool sci-fi ideas. It's actually a little Star Trek-y. It's like dystopian, and the episodes were like story-wise, like it was very abstract. Like Aeon Flux would die often in the shorts,
Like
and
in
then
most
just
of
come
them,
back.
right?
Yeah, in the shorts she died at the end of all of them, and then in the series, she would every now and then something awful would happen to her.
Is it take place in a multiverse? Is that the idea?
Or
do they reincarnate her, or-
Yeah, they reincarnate her in the shorts. They don't really address it in the TV show, and they do stuff like they go into the way future. They do a bunch of weird experimental things. They have just some cool sci-fi concepts that are. It's more fantasy than sci-fi. Like
Well,
at one
but-
point, he
but
builds
that
these
changes
ultra
this.
thin metallic robots that go into your belly button and change your nature. Like weird things like that.
But that's not
Where-
fantasy to me.
It's
I know what
fantasy
you
in
mean.
the
Science
sense that it's. I always think of science fiction as more like, oh, that's plausible. Like it's not. The science fiction in Aeon Flux was sort of more towards
Magic, like magic-y.
or
Yeah.
like it was more artistic over realistic. So like the things would look very strange, and not have much of a reason to look the way it looks.
So let me ask you this question. The older I get, the more interested I get in science fiction in the tone or with the kinds of thoughts that Star Trek is interested in, and less in the adventure stuff that's like, to use the other pillar Star Wars would do.
I don't consider, like, Star Wars to me is not science fiction. Star Wars is an adventure.
Fantasy and space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would say Aeon Flux is more on that.
So it's more of an adventure.
Yeah, I guess. It's more just that the science part of it is not very scientific. It's just neat. The ideas are neat. There's a part where, like, this guy needs to hide Trevor Goodchild, the villain.
Yeah.
The sort of villain. I know, it's a terrible name.
Dave lit up when he said that name.
Are terrible. Yeah. There's a part where he's hiding this guy that everybody thinks is missing, and he did it by putting these weird suspenders on the guy that vibrates him in a way that he becomes invisible. And you have to put on the suspenders as well to vibrate at the frequency that he suddenly appears. And then for some reason you can crawl inside of his stomach, and there's like a room. So that's what I mean. It's like sci-fi-ish, but it's more like fantasy dream.
This is so opaque for a person who does not know Aeon Flux, which I do not.
Yeah, there's just something so wonderfully surreal about it that if they made a live action by people who actually gave a shit, like the movie was not made by people who gave a shit. It at least didn't seem that way. If they actually tried to make it as surreal and bizarre and like kind of beautiful and weird as the cartoon, it could be really great, but it's going to be really difficult. It's a tall order.
Yeah, it makes you really appreciate how important that pitch meeting and the initial packaging of a movie really is. Because like what you just said, if people gave a shit, right? So like that means that somebody who probably did care about Aeon Flux went into a pitch meeting, was like, I'm going to make Aeon Flux, and like they either pitched it as, but I'm going to make it more of an adventure or whatever, or the studio executives are like, yeah, but only if it's in this style, which is not integral to the Aeon Flux.
It was like they definitely came in as like pitching it as like a Matrix style action movie.
Yes,
it's
it was definitely
the producers.
Yeah,
and that sucks.
I think it was from the producers of the Matrix, wasn't it? Wasn't like
Probably,
a Joel Silver production?
I don't know. And they kept a few elements, but it was generally, it was such a disappointing movie compared to the TV show. But again, it's a tall order. The TV show is very, very strange.
I'm gonna have to watch an episode
Yeah.
to see if I feel things about it, Dave.
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, don't watch. I mean, the shorts are fun, but there's actually like half-hour episodes. They did a series of shorts on Liquid Television, and then I think they just did a season, and then it got canceled.
Okay.
I assume.
Fair enough.
Joel Silver was not the producer. Galen Hurd was one.
They did one of the same guy. I keep forgetting his name. It's something like. He did one of the Animatrix films as well, which nobody cares about that either.
I did
The artist of Aeon Flux?
Yeah, the creator of
I kind of do think the Animatrix is a little underrated, actually.
Peter Chung, that's his name. He did Rugrats, and he did one of the Animatrixes.
Rugrats, the animation
shorts.
Yeah, strange. Do you mind if I move us on? Is that okay?
No, I've said all I need to say about it.
Okay, so E3 was this week.
Yes.
Did we learn about any video games we did not know about?
The Doom sequel I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either. Yeah.
And I'm stoked for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Doom was the best.
Yeah, you loved that Doom reboot.
I love all of Doom.
Okay,
the
all
Doom
of it.
Reboot really did it for me. Yeah.
The only Doom I played a little of and was just like, is Doom 3? That was the one that was more like a horror game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was like, meh, I should be able to hold a flashlight and a gun. I'm done.
I like
this
that.
game.
I was into that one.
Yeah, I'm not maybe it was where I was in life. I wanted more of like Doom 2.
What is essential to a Doom reboot, or not a Doom sequel to this reboot in your mind? What must they get correct that they got correct in the reboot?
They could just do the
All
same
of it.
thing.
Just do the same thing. Add more enemies,
well,
and weapons.
There was
Cooler
narrative
guns,
to this one, though, as I recall.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
It could expand on the narrative some.
Yeah, because I wrote an escort mission for this, and I remember the premise of this new one was that like you were an ancient evil that was awoken, right?
Yeah, they found you.
Yeah.
So there could be more on that. That would be kind of fun.
Sure, there's
fun,
a
right?
couple of directions. Like they did so well with that last game that I just whatever they want to do, I'm on board.
This Doom thing, it feels like it feels like the best version of Doom is in the same tone as the most recent Mad Max movie.
Yes.
Where it's like if I saw a demon playing an electric guitar in the thing, I'd be like, you understand what you are. Congratulations.
This is my fear with Doom, because Mad Max is a good comparison.
Yeah.
Where Mad Max didn't try to be anything more than it needed to be. It was just like, one long car chase, making it as much story as we need, and it was great. That
made that movie easily the best movie of that year.
Yes.
When that fucking electric guitar maniac was on that platform, I was like, this is the greatest moment in cinema history for this year. It is fucking great.
I'm more with Doom. It's not what it needs to do. It's what it needs to not do, which is that I don't want it to be what the new God of War did. I like the new God of War.
Hot take.
But the new God of War was like, and let's make it open world, and let's make this intense system where you upgrade and stuff. And it's like, no, just fucking be God of War. And that's what I don't want Doom or Wolfenstein to do that, where they're like, let's be bigger than we are. I love that the new Wolfenstein was like, no multiplayer, no co-op. We're just going to be this thing. And it was like...
That was the previous one, too, Wolfenstein the New Order.
Yeah, they seem to know what they're doing.
That's fucking great. Yeah. Just keep it old school. Like, just don't try to expand upon it. Just have fun with the story and the look and the moments in it.
I think they get that, too. Doom, the Doom reboot was very much like the original Doom. It's like level structure. It's a linear game. Like, the worlds open up and there's secret paths and stuff. But, like... It's a linear level structured game, and then there's just your deathmatch multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's crazy and insane.
It's not uncreative to do that. They found many creative ways to make that game.
The game is
fun.
so fucking fun.
Yeah, that game is. I like that game a lot. I am not a Doom boy.
I love
that's.
Doom.
I don't hate it. It's not like part of my nostalgia track. But when I played it, it was like, this game is much better than the average first-person shooter.
Oh, yeah.
I was very impressed with it.
Just the fucking music. Oh,
the music.
Well, of course, I knew you were going to...
That dude does the music for the Wolfenstein games, too.
Yeah, which is also great music on that,
He's just wailing away on fucking, like, these bass guitars.
Yeah.
You guys,
shredding it up.
It seems like you guys are just missing thrash rock, because there just isn't that much of it anymore. Mm-hmm. You're just missing it. It's a hole in your heart.
You're not gonna make a Doom game and then just make the soundtrack just like out of control metal as fuck. Then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Speaking of out of control metal as fuck, I feel like the idea for this new Fallout is
what is it, like a survival game?
Well, okay, so it's filling in the gaps. Yeah, I think that's right. It's like Fortnite. Yeah. I think it's filling in the gaps narratively for, like, how did we get from nuclear apocalypse to ramshackle
society?
Yeah, society, right?
Right.
And this is the Fortnite version of this game where we find that where that story is told in a very loose, abstract way is what I gather from it. And I feel like this is the first time I felt really strongly, even though it's not the first time they've done it, that I felt like this is just a cash grab on the word Fallout.
Yeah,
like they just put Fallout on something.
Well, if it's like if it's just Fortnite with a Fallout skin, I don't need that.
Yeah, and that sounds like that again. This is what I would be afraid that Doom would do. It seems like a lot of people are doing this. We're like, now a new battle royale mode, and it's like, yeah, you all have those now. Like,
right?
You're not exciting. It's a cash grab.
Part of what makes Fortnite so good and fun to me is its art style and aesthetic.
Certainly.
So like, it's not as fun for me anyway to slap that.
I would say that it's actually
in another game
for me, because PUBG was like, it's glitchy, and I'm sure it's better now. But like for me, what made Fortnite appealing is that it was just first.
That's the thing. They got there first.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. PUBG was first.
Well, I was going to say, but PUBG, like, when you try playing PUBG, when I'd watch PUBG, it'd be like, oh, this is glitchy and really, like, not great. Like, but Fortnite was the first to make, like, just a fully polished version of it.
I agree with all that you said. I also think that the problem with slapping the word Fallout on something is that at some point, if it's all bad, the word Fallout stops being printing money.
Yeah.
And like, it's a valuable commodity, the word Fallout, still. And I would argue it shouldn't be as valuable as it is. Like, I would say that
what do you think diminished it?
I don't think Fallout 4 was a particularly great game, and we'll talk about that on
Enjoyed it.
our most recent one-upsmanship that's coming out sometime soon. I don't think Fallout 4 was a mind blower. I thought it was a above average game.
It was a kind of a lateral move for the series, but adding the settlements was cool.
If we're gonna go back to this universe, then justify it. Like, and I mean, like, hold it to a higher standard. Like, I don't think that every time 50s inspired alternate apocalypse universe is like the setting gets announced to me that I need to like lose my fucking mind. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, cool. It's a cool setting, so Star Wars, but that doesn't mean every Star Wars movie is worth watching. So like, make me give a fuck about why I'm in this Fallout universe. Sure. And this prequel horse shit where it's like, now I'm going to tell you how I got to like ghouls and like, ramshackle. It's like, I don't. So you're going to explain the premise in slow motion to me? Like, I already know.
Like, I get it. Like, radiation.
I'm a smart man. I see how apocalypses would lead to this. That's the genius of the series. So like, stop it. Like, I'm just worried. I'm worried that we're going to lose the gem that Fallout has been.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't have much of it. I don't have like an opinion just because I never really. I don't have a dog in this fight. Because I played the last one and I got like a couple hours in. And I was like, I'm bored.
What fight do you have a dog in from E3? Any? Do you have
not
any?
Really.
You have no dogs in any of the fights?
Not much. Not from what is listed here. Elder Scrolls, I don't care.
Well,
Kingdom Hearts, I've never played Kingdom Hearts.
I haven't either. I'm missing out on that.
I need to. Fallout, I didn't really care. Smash Brothers wasn't a nostalgia thing for me. I've played it recently.
Dave,
and I never played it when I was like younger when it came out, but it's a lot of fun.
If you think that you and I aren't going to be playing Smash Brothers together, you are a fucking fool.
Oh no,
it's happening.
I might have to get a whatever.
I'll bring over my little
Nintendo
Switch
is.
remotes.
I have 4 Switch controllers currently. Like, you fucks are playing it. Like, that's what's happening.
No,
like, we're doing it.
I'm all for it. Like I said,
Smash Brothers rules.
Smash Brothers I love Mario 64. I just never got Smash Brothers. Like, I just never purchased that game and played it. I didn't have any friends.
You know what?
And,
like, do you get empathy hype? Do you ever get hype because other people get hyped? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is sort of Well, this is one where it's like, I know this means a lot to a lot of people.
Did you see the reveal in New York where those kids found out that Smash Brothers was a thing earlier this year? Did you see that video?
No.
Yeah,
okay.
When they're like weeping.
They lost their fucking minds. You know what? I loved it. I was way in on it. All of you who are listening to this podcast, if you want to just enjoy the sheer pandemonium of children learning that they get a thing they want, go look up like New York Smash Brothers reveal and watch these fucking 20-year-olds lose their mind. It's fantastic.
Okay, so they're not children.
They're children to me, man. Like, they look like kids. And also, you have to be a certain age to act the way that they're acting in this video.
Right.
But like, they lose their minds.
I know. It's wild.
It's great. It's so good. I think honestly, out of this list, Smash Brothers is going to be the game that matters out of all these games. I really believe that.
The remaster of a pre-existing game is going to be the one that matters.
I think so. Okay. I do. I really do. I think this Smash. I mean, it's every Smash Brothers is kind of a remaster, but it's not.
Well, it's like just a fighting game. They just add more characters, right?
But I think this Nintendo console and this iteration of the Smash Brothers game series is going to matter. But I don't think these games are going to be bad. I just think that one's going to be somehow the most important of these, because I think the rest of these have letdown potential.
Sure.
And I don't think Smash Brothers. It's like I think that thing, the baseline is an A. Like, it's like you can't fuck that up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a pre-existing game. They're just putting more characters in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it'll be as good as it was 4 years ago when it came out.
It's gonna be super good. I'm like way in on it. How much do you care about Elder Scrolls?
I enjoyed Skyrim a whole lot.
Yeah, me too.
Like, Skyrim's a shit.
I should probably play that.
That was.
You never played Skyrim?
Never played Skyrim.
Oh man, you're like the only human.
Yeah, everybody talks about it.
I get that. I got empathy hype for it though, because that's like Marina's jam.
She loves Skyrim.
She has completed Skyrim so many times.
Yeah.
What do you do? You run around, you chop.
It's Fallout, but in an ancient fantasy universe.
I didn't like Fallout, so.
Well, we got a problem here, Dave.
Is it where you can't just fight someone?
No, you
can fight people.
Yeah, okay, so how is it?
It's an RPG like Fallout with the same art style as Fallout.
So you're just like running around?
Yeah,
it's an RPG. Do you want to see it? How have you not seen Skyrim? That blows my mind.
I've seen like clips.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That really. I mean, yeah.
It's a first-person RPG.
I would say it's the first-person RPG at this point.
So
like
it's good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, I'll try it.
Look at this guy. Look at this goblin. He
No,
doesn't know if Skyrim's good. Yeah, it's good.
It's weird. Like I know what I'm doing, but I also genuinely never really crossed paths with Skyrim.
Fair
So
enough.
I'm taking advantage of that fact.
Sure,
Like
sure.
I know what you're doing.
I earnestly have never.
It doesn't have the VATS thing that you hate, where you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not-
I'll
that's
give
not
it. I'll give it.
I got to tell you, I'm playing Fallout New Vegas currently for a someday episode of One-Upsmanship. Boy, the VATS really is frustrating.
Yeah, that instantly turned me off.
Yeah.
It's not as bad in Fallout 4.
No, it got better. Fallout 4 fixed things in a way that I didn't appreciate until going back in
Going
time
back
more.
and
And I was like,
trying to play it,
ooh,
yeah.
boy, this is a lot
Yeah.
worse. Anyway, I wish we had more information than the name Elder Scrolls 6 over a mountain range.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
all
That's
it shows.
it's like, so when am I going to see this? Like, is Trump going to be
4 years?
president even? Like,
Yeah.
who knows when this, like,
It'll be a few years.
Yeah.
yeah, that is not a good use of E3 to me. Like, I feel like E3 stuff, you should only be able to announce things that are within 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's the maximum the maximum distance from the release date that a thing can be talked about. That should be a rule.
Yeah.
Because
They
it's
love doing
dumb.
this thing. It's the Marvel thing where they're
Yeah.
like, and here's the next 10 years, and it's like,
Yeah.
But the Marvel stuff,
we
it's
can
like
have like 3 9/11s between now
Right.
and then. Like, who knows what is actually going to happen?
the problem with the difference to me is that you're not sure these games are gonna come out.
yeah.
Like, stuff at E3 doesn't always come out,
Right.
and that's bullshit. Like, because this is the hype train. Like,
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
moment where we learn all the game news.
And even if it does come out, it's that thing where it doesn't necessarily. What was it? I think The Division did this
Yep.
where they put out the gameplay, and
Yep.
it was like, this looks amazing, and then you're like, oh no.
BioShock Infinite. I'm
They
going to make the
lie.
argument
They're
that
liars.
I'm going to make the argument that Last of Us 2, this trailer, that might be the
I
case
was
here
saying
too.
this before you got
Yeah,
here.
it's not a trailer.
It was
It's not
looking at it, I was
gameplay.
just like, yeah, this feels like not gameplay.
If I don't doubt that they could make gameplay look almost that good. I that seems reasonable to me.
The Last of Us looks the first one looked good, so I'm sure
Yeah.
this one will look at least as good. But
It'll look much better.
Yeah.
I'm not worried
but
about
this
that.
trailer didn't.
Well, the violence here was so cinematic and visceral,
Yeah.
and not that it was like people reacting emotionally to being cut and stuff, and I'm like, well, that's not going to happen 300
No,
times.
it's not.
No.
That's
it-
not happening.
It's not gameplay where like the character you're playing as is like perfectly runs under the car at
Right.
just the right moment. It's
Right.
like, this isn't gameplay. If
Right.
this is gameplay, that's boring. This is like a Telltale like game then, where it's like
Right.
everything's
I doubt this-
perfectly- Yeah.
I think they really need to. I feel like games and everyone else will benefit from like them restraining themselves more than they do. I know that sounds like kind of the opposite of what we want out of trailers, but like games, people are let down from these trailers more than they are hyped from them.
Yeah.
Like people are looking at Last of Us 2 and they're like, this thing better be fucking A+. So they give you a trailer that's not a thing that really looks possible, and then you're gonna be disappointed. Like what other reaction can there be?
I will say God of War, I thought that was the case, and then it turned out to just be like the gameplay trailer of God of War. I was like, this looks too
And it
too
was good?
polished. And yeah, I thought it lived up to the
Okay.
gameplay trailer.
Um,
But I agree with you. Generally speaking, the gameplay trailers never look like the fucking
God
how it
of
turns out.
War's gameplay never promised you guy coughing his and like looking up at you
Yeah.
sorrowfully as he's about to die.
Yeah.
And stuff that's like, that's
Like,
not going to
really,
happen.
like, we're not. Yeah.
Right.
We're not doing all those computations every time I
Right.
shoot a bad guy.
So I got a real question here. What is, in your mind, the purpose of Last of Us 2? Like, what story could it be that I need?
have no idea.
Same
Yeah.
here. It's one of
I
those.
think making a sequel with the same characters is a mistake, which we
Yeah.
talked about. On
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
Ship.
Yeah.
Well, it's that sort of thing where I'm gonna trust them because they haven't given me a reason not to. Where it's like, okay, maybe they thought of something really cool. Because again, it's that thing of like, it's like Toy Story 3. Where
Right.
It's like, why is there a Toy Story 3? And then you watch and you're like, oh, that's why there's a Toy Story 3.
Boy, you picked the
Where it's
best
like,
one.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
give. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they figured out a reason for this
Sure.
story to exist. That said, if they didn't, it's not like they wouldn't make the game. So
Right.
this game was going to be made just like Toy Story 3 was going to be made, no matter what. I hope they figured out a good reason for it. to
Toy Story
exist.
3 is the best sequel argument I can think of. Like
Yeah.
that and Godfather 2. It's like,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Really-
okay.
really-
I mean, and good for you.
Toy
That's
Story 3 is a great
really
like
hit that.
what it makes is because it is that situation where it was like, oh, they're chugging along, they're making Toy Story 3, You either make it good or you don't, but it's going to happen, and they figured out a way to make it good.
See, my thing is that Last of Us, the I don't know what we like the narrative that drove the first Last of Us about like sort of like she's the cure, she needs to be like I'm sorry, spoiler for everybody. She's the cure for this zombie apocalypse, and then like Joel decides to selfishly make her his daughter instead of saving the world.
Right.
So like the only thing that could be related to that I think is interesting is if she finds out she's the cure.
I'm sure that'll happen.
Yeah.
Right, and then Joel becomes the bad guy in this game.
I did notice there's no Joel in the gameplay.
I think, yeah, but he's referenced. We know he's there.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, she said the guy says your
in the
father.
flashback.
No, the guy says your father is on my case about patrols, and he's obviously the father. We think.
Okay.
If Joel becomes the bad guy and she discovers the cure and makes her own decision, and then that's an okay sequel.
Yeah,
I'm okay
that
with
could be
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Let's. I gotta move us along.
Sorry. Yeah.
Movies
Tell
that
us another movie
deserve
that deserve more hype.
more hype. This one's coming out June 29th this month, at least in China. It's called Animal World.
Yeah.
It is a Chinese-made film featuring Michael Douglas as the bad guy, and it stars a vigilante, alien-fighting clown man.
Yeah, the alien fighting somehow was the thing that was the most. What is the deal with this movie?
I think alien. We don't know.
They
trailer
look pretty
is
alien.
They had hammerheads.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
definitely an alien.
the trailer almost reminded me of Deadpool, where he's like this like funny, weird hero and running through this train, slaughtering what look
Carving
like
them.
Men in Black aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They bleed like paintball blood.
Yeah.
dressed like a clown. It wouldn't surprise anybody to know this is based off a Japanese manga.
Sure.
So that's probably he's also a shapeshifter apparently.
Okay, so does he need to dress up like the clown, or does he just shapeshift into the clown? They show him wiping makeup off in the trailer, so
I don't know.
The fact that he's a shapeshifter is killing me.
He's it.
he is it.
Exactly.
He's
That's what was
Pennywise
so
the clown.
obvious about this trailer. Was like, oh, so it was a thing, so we're gonna make this thing,
Yeah.
and then they give him the powers of a shapeshifter, and he's putting on makeup.
I mean,
What the fuck is going
the
on?
synopsis according to Hollywood Reporter
no.
is Lee stars as a shape-shifting vigilante clown battling an array of monsters in a shadowy big city, period. Douglas plays an icy villain, period.
You know what's going on in movies right now?
Yeah.
Movies right now are in this wonderful place where they almost have the same premise as every single student film that I saw, where like the premise is just batshit insane. Oh yeah. But they're also like really talented, intelligent people are working hard to make those premises make sense.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fine. Like this
Well,
shapeshifter's gonna put on
Shapeshifter
makeup.
clown.
This is produced by Inlight Pictures. It's a Chinese government supported
Yeah.
company. They're saying this movie is mostly for people in China. Like this isn't for us, but they're all they said like, yeah, if we build a non-Chinese audience for this, that's great too.
They
But
should
they
have
don't
said.
give a fuck.
They should have
they're
said-
like, we're doing our own thing.
You should have said, "We fucking dare you to watch."
Yeah,
this."
Right.
trust us.
Yeah.
Trust us. Chinese audiences are perfectly in sync with this.
They should have said
Yeah.
mostly Chinese audiences and Dave.
Yeah.
It's like we
Dave's
got
gonna
one.
love this
We got
But
one
people-
guy.
People
Yeah.
really need to watch the trailer because the trailer is
It's called Animal World.
Animal World. It's
Animal
very
World.
pretty looking.
It's
and
not-
It's very ridiculous looking.
It's not possible to be angry at this movie.
No,
No.
You
It looks
just can't.
just delightful.
It's like
It's a clown.
completely
And when
bananas.
we say clown, like I'm not talking about like a juggalo or cool. Like it's a Bozo the clown.
clown,
Yeah.
it's a
It's like a peanut mascot.
Yeah. It's not a
yeah.
scary clown. It's
I would
just
argue it's a
clown.
crazy clown in the sense, like I think contextually it's a little scarier than
Sure.
you're giving it credit for.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no way to be mad at this movie.
No.
I tried to find a way. It was like, why is this is kind of dumb. But it was like just infectiously likable.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna see this. I can
Yeah,
tell you right
me
now.
too.
I probably won't think it's great, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's earned it by being this bananas.
Yeah. All of this.
Yeah. It's like fine. You know what? Fuck you. You're gonna get my watch.
That should be the tagline. You know what? Fuck you.
Fuck you. You're gonna watch this and you're gonna like it.
yeah,
yeah.
You know what? Don't watch
You're
it.
not gonna be mad about
Yeah.
it. I
Gives
dare
a
you
fuck.
not to like this movie.
Michael Douglas is in it.
Yeah.
Why is Michael Douglas in it?
Because-
I love the idea
because
of
he has to put
Chinese
on makeup as a
producers-
shapeshifter.
Yeah. I just love the idea of this production company. Like, we need something to really get those asses in the seats. Let's get Michael Douglas in here.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing?
I don't know. It's crazy.
I mean, I guess I'm underestimating the power of it because, like, the clown thing it's back in full effect right now. Last time I was on this podcast, we had Michael Shannon, the rodeo clown.
That's right.
Sadly philosophizing about life.
In a way, it's a good time to be a clown because there was a time where clowns were like unironically enjoyed.
Yeah.
In like the 20s or 30s,
Even
and
the
then
50s.
like that guy came around and killed a bunch of people,
Which was before that, wasn't it?
John Wayne
Gacy.
Yeah,
No,
what
it was
was
the
his
60s,
era?
70s, right?
Oh, okay.
It was later on.
I thought it was earlier than that.
70s.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then clowns weren't so great.
Yeah.
And then like I remember my birthday parties. Like I look at home videos, they would get a clown, like a legit clown. And even then, it felt like that was too late to have a clown.
Right. You've missed peak clown time.
Yeah. There's video of me just fucking loving a clown. Just laughing
Didn't
my
even
little
need
5-year-old ass off.
What was the name of the clown that you loved?
I don't remember. It really felt like it was maybe just a friend of my parents that had clowning.
So instead of Santa or something like that, you got a clown. Like they're like, we know what our son wants.
Yeah, I fucking love the clown.
Yeah.
In the home videos. And then it came along and all that, and it feels like there's a resurgence of clowns where professional clowns are like, all right, this is not what we want, but we're getting money. Yeah, we got to take it.
Yeah.
I knew I had a friend who was a clown professionally, among other jobs. It was like one of those like couldn't make a full-time gig out of being a clown.
No.
Sure.
And like really had a spirited emotional connection to the goodness of clowns that was like, I don't know how to convince you that you're mistaken. Like you just couldn't have like a real dial. It's like, no, this isn't like a merry thing anymore. That's over.
No.
You're just a creep. You're just a weird creep.
It's a weird
fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
It's a weird
I
profession.
don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you're just a weird creep.
Go see Animal World about the shape-shifting clown and Michael Douglas.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't see it. See what happens if you don't see it.
Right.
You know? Feel the emptiness
Dare you.
in your life, you know?
The hollow shell that you become.
Yeah.
Having now watched this film. Well, I think that's a show.
That's a Hypecast.
Yeah.
Adam,
It's a real show.
What do you got something to plug? Where can
No, you can
where
find me on
find-
Twitter at The Real Gans. I'm on Small Beans with the One Upsmanship podcast. You see me around these parts once in a while.
Okay.
That's my deal.
It's true. We do see you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Around these parts.
Round these here parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks
Say
for
bye,
having me
everyone.
on.
Sorry.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
I think that was his goodbye.
Cool. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info. Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.